just a minute, please. I want everything you've got. The name of the pilot.
The plane was shut down after 3 hours ago. We're trying to fix the exact time.
The pilot was Major Rudolph Anderson, Jr. He flew the mission that discovered the missiles on October 14th.
Get me some information on his family, Kenny.
We can't send out those U-2 pilots now unless we knock out those SAM sites.
I want absolute verification that that U-2 plane was shot down and didn't crash accidentally. A very careful review.
A small-town murder. A crime of passion. A Midwestern woman back on the streets. Could you be in danger? Next, Inner Demons with David Kind. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern.
Accidentally. A very careful review.
President, there's no doubt that the report is accurate.
A military response to a military. Well, I'm very positive, Brown. Yeah.
Hey. Hey, wakey wakey. Don't freak out. There's something I want to show you, okay?
It is said that love is a serious mental disease, one that tears away all sense of reason, all sense of fear, and every last strand of common sense. The shaft of arrows is one that pierces the victim clean, leaving pieces, remnants buried inside for years. And anyone who's lucky enough to have been chosen by that godly hand will attest that it's better to have been struck and killed than to have never struck at all. This is Inner Demons. Tonight on Inner Demons, a biology teacher and baseball coach at an Illinois elementary school is coming under fire this week after making a series of offensive remarks about a child in his class with cerebral palsy.
Isn't helping.
Now, a social media firestorm has erupted, and members of the public weigh in on the tenured teacher's fate. And we'll talk to a wedding videographer whose personal tragedy has inspired a nation to spread goodwill and peace towards man. But first, after murdering her ex-boyfriend, one insanity plea, and 2.5 years of rehabilitation, a woman is back on the street. Hear from the experts what this means for her and for you. Good evening. I'm David Kind. In the United States, fewer than 1% of all prosecuted criminals plead guilty by reason of insanity.
Aren't you that crazy girl from the news? Do you know how many times, almost daily, I get asked that question?
Discuss 27-year-old Tara Schofield, a woman who has just this month been released from rehabilitation after a murder that many experts say was acted upon out of the most insane human emotion of all, love.
Wildly unprofessional that is. That was... Somebody got paid to write that!
It was a normal September evening for anyone other than Tara Schofield.
Such and such was just an average Joe until one day. Then y'all get scared, and then you tune in together over PJs and red
to
wine.
a 911 call, one that seemed at once all too foreign and all too familiar.
911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, there's this guy and he's on the ground. He's bleeding a lot, I think.
Okay, ma'am, calm down here. Where are you?
I'm the third exit off 91.
Off 91? You're on the side of the interstate?
Yeah, just a little ways off of it.
Outside his apartment, Ryan Henney had been stabbed multiple times with a small, sharp object. He died before an ambulance could arrive at the scene.
Do you think they asked my boyfriend's family for permission to use his name in this garbage?
Later that night, 27-year-old Tara Schofield was arrested in her one-bedroom economy and charged with felony murder. According to testimony from family members, Tara and Henney had been seeing each other for the better part of a year, much longer than she'd ever pursued a man before.
Even when we were little, Tara found it hard to connect to other people, to warm up to them. She didn't date a whole bunch, so she wasn't really ever bringing guys around the house, but with Ryan things were different.
As her mother testified, Ryan had gotten Tara pregnant back in June of 2013. According to transcripts, Henny had his doubts about the legitimacy of the pregnancy and cut off connection completely. Her family, however, had a different take on the matter.
I get asked at every one of these, were there warning signs? Could I have stopped it? I'm not my sister's keeper. Okay? Like, I'm not in charge of what she does, and she's a strong, smart woman, and people make mistakes, and I'm not going to hold that against her. I still love my sister, and that's just what's going to happen.
Cue that empty September evening. Ryan had returned from a dinner date with an old roommate whom he hadn't seen for several years. Ryan pulled into the parking lot of his apartment where a witness says he was ambushed.
We know Tara was only waiting downstairs for about 20 or 30 minutes due to the witness accounts of the case. And so this wasn't a very calculated thing. She wasn't there for a long period of time.
You're kidding.
Plotting out her next move. Clearly she was
You
running
made
behind
yourself
emotions.
dinner,
People had said
then
that she was
sat
very
down to
upset.
watch yourself on
And
TV.
so when emotions run high like that, and when you know when somebody's going to be around, Tara and the victim were very close. That is how these kinds of things happen.
Tara was quickly taken into police custody, and in November of 2013, Tara's public defender entered her plea, guilty by reason of insanity.
Well, it's important to note here that insanity in these kinds of cases is not a psychological term, it is a legal one. It is,
Come on, Daisy! People don't want to hear
this
about
person
that. They want to hear about the woman who snapped. They want to hear about the girl who just couldn't handle herself.
And so when you judge a case by insanity, it is judging whether or not the person has the mental capacity to know that a crime here is being committed.
Guilty by reason of insanity has its roots as far back as colonial America, when in 1638,
Is this how you
Dorothy
get your
Talby
kicks?
was convicted and hanged
You go on
for the murder
TV
of
and
her
talk about
youngest
people
daughter.
you don't know?
Well, certainly there's a stigma against mental illness in this country. There's a huge stigma against it, even perceived mental illness. Because of the stigma, over half of all mental illness cases are unreported in the United States. And so there's certainly a stigma, and because that stigma exists, that is why these people feel that they cannot help themselves.
These people?
Okay, I didn't say it like that.
You did. I just watched you.
Tara was well
I
beyond
didn't mean
the
it like
ability
that.
to consider the impact of her actions. She was sentenced to state-administered evaluation and treatment, in which she remained until July of 2016. On July 16, 2016, Tara's attending therapist made the decision that Tara was well enough
They
to be
paid
released
me
from
to sit
State
in front of the
Institute
camera and talk
Rehabilitation.
about what I know.
A panel
It's
of
my job.
experts
It's what I
agreed.
do.
It's the board's job to make these kinds of decisions over whether or not these people can be reintegrated into society. Tara spent 2.5 years, which is standard protocol.
And you managed to sum that up in
cases,
2.5
but Some
minutes.
people are here for a shorter time, and some people are here for much longer. It really depends on the needs of those kinds of people.
As of today, Tara has returned to her one-bedroom apartment exactly as it was left back in 2013, when passion took hold all those years ago.
I give them the facts. What they do with them is up to them.
And that's fine by you as long as writing a 30-minute special about my fuck
I've been a
case in
professional in my
grad school.
field for 6 years. I know what you're going through.
We may never really know just what these people are going through in these kinds of situations. We can only provide the resources to help them get the help they need. The rest is up to them.
The context of her crime continues to haunt her, like the ghost of a lost love that can never be reclaimed.
Anything else you want to say?
Tara Schofield has declined to comment for this edition of Inner Demons. As for now, she prefers to take life one moment at a time. Coming up, a sculptor of young minds has a couple of surprising things to say about the mentally disabled.
Truthfully, people don't really give a damn about contextualizing irrational human behavior. They want to know if their children are safe. They want to know if they live in a safe neighborhood.
President, there's no doubt that the report is accurate.